Today I want to introduce you to two very special people, my parents. They've been in the trenches fighting against the eating disorder in my family since the beginning. They have put their lives on hold to fight against the disease and have given infinite time, resources, and energy to try and stop the eating disorder. Today I talk to them about what it's like to have a child with an eating disorder, what had to change for them, and what they can offer other parents who are dealing with the same thing.
I want to introduce you to someone who's very special to me. This is my dad, and this is another installment of the video series on anorexia awareness for National Eating Disorder Awareness Week. So I'm sitting down with my dad to sort of talk about what it's like to have a daughter with anorexia, what the journey has been like, and find out a little bit more about that. So, Dad, tell me about yourself. What do you do? Why do you do it?
I own a home hardware building center. I do it because I love it.
The reason that I'm interviewing my mom is because she's the primary caregiver for my sister. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what it's like for her to have walked through this journey with my sister, and how it feels to have a daughter with anorexia. So instead of starting way back in the past when it started, what I want is, can you tell us a little bit of what it's like? What's your average day look like caring for an anorexic daughter?
Well, I have basically put my life on hold for Jolene right now. And as a parent, I think there is really no limit. Once you're a parent, you're always a parent. And so regardless of how old your child gets, you will do for them what they need when they need you. And so I'm not working at the store right now very much at all. Every couple of weeks I do a shift. My average day, Jolene right now is independent for breakfast. And so usually what I need to do is let her know, remind her to have breakfast, or let her know when it's time. She likes to have that because that just gives her the boost she needs. She has morning snack, and so she has a nannying job in town, and so it's a perfect job really at this point in time in her life, because I go over probably around 11:30 in the morning, and then she has her snack, and then lunch is around 1:30 or 1:45. And again, I go over, and then from that point until she comes home, I have a chunk of time that if I have errands to run, I can do. But I need to be here then when she comes home from work, so that she can have afternoon snack, and then we usually have dinner around 7:30.
So your day is basically centered around meal prep and observing her meals, right?
Totally.
So
I work my whole day around the times that she needs to eat.
okay. How does that make you feel right now?
Wow. Well, for a long time, when she was in treatment, it was like, okay, it's going to be better. It's going to be better. It's going to be better. And I still have hope. I still have a lot of hope. I see changes happening inside. But as far as how it makes me feel, sometimes I feel cheated out of a life that I know I could have. I feel like I don't have the freedom to just pick up and go, because I always have to be very time conscious of when Jolene needs to eat, when she needs me, and then if it's too late or too early, it's very anxiety provoking for her. And so, yeah, I know that it will change, and so I keep telling myself this too will pass, and it'll be okay. She'll get to the point where she'll be able to manage it on her own.
What is it like, and what has it been like, having a daughter with an eating disorder?
Oh, it's been very difficult. It's been so hard to watch her work so hard and then go down again and lose everything she's gained time after time, and see her struggle, see her have to go away for treatment and miss out on so much of her life.
What are some of your tricks that you use to get her to eat during the day? Or tactics instead of tricks?
Yeah, tactics. Wow. I just tell her it's time. And sometimes the eating disorder will really try to reason with me, you know, it's just one snack. Do I really have to eat? And I'll look right at her and I say, Jolene, you know absolutely the answer to that. You know you have to. We occasionally have meltdowns at a meal, and that's extremely stressful for all of us. It's like no longer the elephant in the room, it's trumpeting at us, right?
Yeah.
And we need to be forceful. And as her therapist told me, right now I believe I am the strongest voice in fighting her eating disorder, and I'm really praying that that will change.
So what changed in your life when she got her eating disorder? What has needed to change in the past decade for you?
Well, the eating disorder pretty much takes over schedule. It takes over, you know, obviously around eating, when we go out to eat, if we can go out to eat, where we go out to eat, at home. The eating disorder tries to schedule when we have meals and what we have for meals and what's prepared for meals. And it's, you know, if we go away on vacation, we have to always make sure that we've got somebody to cover, to take care of her. And so in a lot of ways, it's, you know, really changed our freedoms. Even, you know, where Jolene's at right now, it means that Miriam isn't able to come and work in the family business because she needs to be available for Jolene.
So tell me what it's like, and not day aside, average day aside, what is it like for you as a mother to live with a daughter with anorexia, both emotionally and physically?
Well, you know, when she first got sick, it felt like it dropped out of the sky, and I didn't know a whole lot about it. And like over the last 9 years, we've learned, you know, through our therapy or whatever. And there is a spot in my heart that I can't really go to. I can't allow myself to go to, because in that spot, I am terrified that it will never change. So I can't let myself dwell on that too long. Early on, we decided we're not going to be quiet about this because it's our reality. It is a mental illness, and it's real. And so, times when I feel like I'm really not doing a whole lot, I like to think that I am. I mean, I like to turn it around and realize that through our journey and in being outspoken and advocating and speaking and doing, you know, fundraisers or what have you, we have created awareness, and we've been strong advocates for the awareness. And yeah, it's my life. It's become my life.
So you talked a little bit about when it started. Tell me a little bit more about when the eating disorder sort of showed up in our family, and what that was like, and what changed in your life when that happened.
Well, she was a little girl. She was only 11, and we started seeing, she was always a very happy child, and she started becoming more moody and withdrawing, and John took her out for a date to find out what was wrong in her heart. And no, she said nothing's wrong. She doesn't really know what's wrong. And so initially the doctors were treating it as a medical problem. And so I'm not sure if this is the answer you want, but you know, for so long we did blood work, and it kept taking her back and taking her back. Now, you know as well as I do, Mary Elizabeth, being a nurse, is very was very intuitive, and realized early on that we weren't just dealing with something medical. And so, you know, we kept taking her back to the doctor and back to the doctor, and it wasn't until we came back from a family vacation out west, and I had taken her to emergency that day, and the doctor on call very clearly got his point across. And we walked out of that room, and Jolene said, I don't like him. And she knew, I knew, and it was confirmed at that point. And that was, you know, midsummer 2005, and you know, when she finally was hospitalized, we felt as though the medical system really wasn't up to speed at that point because they basically said there's nothing they can do until she's not medically stable, and we could see her wasting away in front of our eyes. And so the very last day of August 2005, I remember kneeling by my bed and praying that God would please take her home, because I could not stand to see her leave us like this. I couldn't stand it anymore. And we took her up that day for blood work because Toronto General wanted more blood work. We were Grand River Hospital. We were working with the eating disorder team there, and they were trying to get her admitted to Toronto General, and they needed more blood work. And it was during that time, that day, that she collapsed and was finally admitted. And so, you know, early on, it was like I thought it was a Hollywood problem. It wasn't going to affect a little Mennonite girl from Millbank. But oh my goodness, we just have learned so much. Like I didn't know then. Had I known then what I know now, I don't know what I would have done. Like, because there's no quick fix.
What has been one of the biggest personal sacrifices you've needed to make?
Oh, I guess the biggest thing that I would say is the enjoyment of watching my daughter enjoy her teenage years and live life the way life is intended to live as a young person. Seeing her robbed of all that, and also, you know, financially, and just the freedom, like I said, of schedule and stuff like that.
So your days have been filled with coaching her through her meals, meal prep. You've had a very intense experience for the past decade, and that's got to wear on you as a mother, as a person. What do you do to stay sane, I guess? What do you do for yourself, and how do you cope with this?
I shop.
It's true, she does.
I like to shop. I enjoy walking, getting outside. I enjoy having coffee with friends. I enjoy doing things for other people, like especially my girls. I'll, you know, do things for them, and well, you know that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I like doing the occasional, you know, pampering with my nails or whatever, but for the most part, just getting out. Like I can't dwell on it for too long. So I like to go visit, or, you know, go into work for a couple of hours if it works, just to get out. And I found that I do need to take care of myself. I found that out the hard way. I thought I could handle it all, and nearly had a breakdown over it. And so, yeah, self-care is vital.
So having something like that, which is very traumatic, running a business and being involved in like basically every committee possible, what do you do for yourself to make sure that everything stays level for you dealing with having an eating disorder in the family?
Oh, I don't know that I've ever really thought about it. You just cope one day at a time, and obviously our faith is very important, and the support from our church people and from extended family and friends has just, it's all those ingredients that has got us through every day, one day at a time.
So what was it like back when she was a little girl? What was that like for you to need to watch that happen and for her to get sick?
Well, it was really horrible to watch it happen, because it felt so absolutely helpless. It felt like we couldn't get any kind of help. We knew she was a very sick little girl, and the doctors couldn't do anything until she was medically unstable. They just kept insisting that they can't do anything as long as she's medically stable. And so, try as we might, we couldn't get the kind of help that we knew she needed, and we kept watching her slip away every day, to the point that for 2 weeks before she was finally hospitalized, we felt like she was dying every day, and we didn't know if she was going to be awake in the morning. We'd wait to hear the hinges on the door squeak, and then we knew she was still alive, because we never knew.
One thing I want you to do is look at the camera, and if you could say anything to other mothers out there who are dealing with a son or daughter with anorexia, what would you tell them? What would you What strength would you give them? What words of advice would you give them?
The first thing is, I would say, understand that this is an illness that your son or daughter didn't wish for. It is not their fault. And in order to stay sane, you need to separate the illness from your child. And you need to get help for your child. There is hope. There is hope. We are still on our journey. But the biggest thing is early intervention is the key, very much so. And so don't let it go too long. Step up and speak up, because this monster grows in silences. And that's my advice.
The last thing I want you to do is look at the camera, and if you could say anything to the fathers out there who are dealing with a son or daughter that is dealing with anorexia, what would you tell them?
Well, I would say if you have any inkling that your son or daughter might be struggling with an eating disorder, don't go into denial. Get help as soon as you possibly can, because early intervention is the key to a speedy recovery, so you don't have to live with it for almost 10 years like our families had to.
When Jolene was diagnosed with anorexia, the doctor looked at our family and said, "I hope you're a tight family." We had no idea what that meant, but now we do. My parents have made so many selfless sacrifices. They have tirelessly fought for their daughter, and they have not blamed their other partner for the situation in the process. Although it hasn't always been perfect, they've managed to stay in love, full of life, and hopeful for the future. If you or someone you know has an eating disorder, seek help now. There is no replacement for a life lived in freedom.
You wrote